Hey everyone, Amy here. If you listen to this show, you know we focus on expanding human potential and bring spiritual intelligence into modern leadership. But there's a blind spot that so many high performers may have. We treat creativity like a rare talent or a luxury we don't have time for, rather than an essential, everyday resource. Creativity isn't a gift reserved for a lucky few. It's a live relationship that determines how fully you engage with your work, your ideas, and your life. And like any relationship, it must be intentionally resourced and tended. To help us all shift into this vital, energetic piece of our humanity, I've partnered with elite creativity coach, songwriter, and producer Rachel Efron to bring you a brand new monthly mini-series, The Spark Sessions, Resourcing for Creativity. Each month, Rachel is taking over the mic to share deeply personal stories, break down common myths, and hand you a specific 10-minute mission designed to resource your creativity. By the end of this journey, our goal is to help you rekindle your life force, step into infinite possibility, and become a truly vibrant, thriving human being. Get ready, because you're about to step into the Spark Sessions, resourcing your creativity. Here's Rachel Efron.
Welcome to the Spark Sessions. I'm your creativity coach, Rachel Efron. Here we understand creativity isn't a talent or a mood. It's our natural state, and it comes alive the moment we support it. Every session will challenge myths, break through blocks, and help you discover what's yours and only yours to make. Let's get to it. I had written beautiful music, a little 6/8 lullaby, a bit swingy, sweet melody, Beethoven-inspired chords, but I didn't have any words. Days went by, no lyrics came to me. So finally I sat myself down. I said, Rachel, what will this song be about? And I thought to myself, I have written a lot of sad songs lately. I don't want to write another sad song. I really ought to be able to write something happy. I ought to be able to write something redemptive, something uplifting, something joyful. And so I decided I will write a love song. I chose characters. I chose a scenario. I chose a metaphor. I chose sensory details. And I wrote a love song. It was terrible. It was lifeless. It was meaningless. It lacked any sense of urgency. So I thought, all right, okay, I can still do this though. I picked new characters, new scenario, new metaphor, new sensory details. I wrote another love song. It was terrible. At this point, I got real with myself. I noticed there was inside me, actually, a song hankering to be written. This song I had been vaguely aware of ever since I'd been writing the music a few days ago. I even knew the title. It was called The House Where We Didn't Live. It was a song about how I raised myself on a sort of fantasy of home. It was a song about never belonging in the spaces where it had been my birthright to belong. I wanted nothing to do with this song. This song felt terrifying. This song felt too negative, too personal, overwrought. This song, I was confident, would be deeply embarrassing. So even then, even recognizing, oh, there is in fact a song in me asking to be written, I decided to write yet another love song. So, take 3. It was terrible. Finally, I surrendered. I wrote The House Where We Didn't Live. And yeah, it was weird and it was intense. But here's the thing. Also, it was incisive. It was powerful. It was ultimately redemptive. I loved it. Other people also loved it. It was like, by expressing that tiny human truth inside of me, I was resonating in the tiny human truth spaces of others. Here's my conclusion. I don't get to choose what songs I write. I mean, in a sense, I do. I can choose what songs I write, but they're going to be terrible because unless I need to write a song, unless I'm actually dying to write a song, it's not going to be a good song. It's not going to have that urgency, that momentum that makes a song ultimately arrive at a place that is very, very good. I know this. This is something that I have learned probably 50 times. And yet I forget it. Or rather, I ignore it. Every time the song that's asking to be written feels too much. Every time the song asking to be written seems to me like it will require just a little bit too much courage. Courage is one of the 5 essential resources for creativity: inspiration, courage, discipline, rest, connection. And courage is one of my very favorites to discuss because courage doesn't mean what we think it means. Courage doesn't mean confidence, knowing we're great, so we create something. Courage doesn't mean fearlessness, not giving a care what other people think, so we create something. Courage means this: being yourself, being exactly, specifically yourself. Courage means creating the thing that is yours and only yours to make, not the thing your mom thinks you should make, not the thing your boyfriend thinks you should make, not the thing your neighbor thinks you should make. That thing that is offering itself up to you as what you must make because it's vexing you, because it's delighting you, because it's confusing you. It might be something strange, petty, corny, tired. Sorry, it's yours. And here's the thing. All those fears you have about it, that it's strange and petty and corny and tired, all of that is just your inner critic trying to keep you from creating today. Because that thing that you actually need to write is gold. It's your gold. When we stare straight into our fear of who we are and say, okay, yeah, maybe that's not who I would have chosen to be, but it's who I am. And so I'm going to go ahead and write this weird song. That is creative courage. And that is when we are rewarded with our best work. I have a confession. For the first year I worked on the Musi methodology, I identified the 5 essential resources for creativity as inspiration, confidence, discipline, rest, connection. That's right. Resource number 2 was not courage. It was confidence. I thought, in order to create, you have to feel pretty good about yourself. I focused on designing exercises to help bolster the artist ego. And then one day, I had the great pleasure of hanging out with writer and personality psychologist William Todd Schultz. You must check out his book, The Mind of the Artist. He was in town doing some research about artist personality at UC Berkeley, and the 2 of us were reading through some studies together about architects, poets, photographers. What kept coming up, like the hook of a summer's hottest song, was one word: courage. If I remember correctly, Todd and I realized at the same moment, or rather, we realized something that we had already known at the same moment. You don't need to feel good about yourself in order to create something. I know plenty of people that feel terrible about themselves and still write poems. I personally can count the number of times I've felt great about myself while writing a song on one hand. So no, you don't need to feel good about yourself to create. What you need is the fortitude to create anyway. Courage is the fortitude to create anyway. But again, let's look even deeper, because courage means more than just writing a poem, even if you don't feel worthy of writing a poem. Courage also speaks to what poem you write. Do you write the poem that you think everyone will like? Do you write the poem that won't get you in trouble with your best friend? Do you write the poem that's like that other poem you wrote that went pretty well? Or do you write the poem that's pounding at the back of your eyes, even though you think it's going to bankrupt you and lose you all your friends? So no, courage is not just the fortitude to create anyway. Courage is the fortitude to create as ourselves anyway. I want to speak more deeply for a moment about the inner critic. In the first few years of my writing, my inner critic gave me a run for my money. It seemed like she was always there, screaming in my ears that my work was too petty, too irrelevant, too personal. She'd say things like, "Get over it, Rachel. Nobody cares." She made me so uncomfortable that I could only write when I was pretending to myself that I wasn't writing. Like I would be doing the dishes, being like, "Oh, I'm only doing the dishes," while I was writing my song. She was, like all inner critics, very, very mean. Now, I'm talking about the first few years of my writing, but I don't mean to suggest that I no longer have an inner critic. I still have an inner critic, and she is still very, very mean. But I have a different relationship to her now. I have noticed my inner critic only shows up when I'm onto something good. I swear, if I'm writing a bad song, my inner critic is nowhere to be found. If I start writing something that has actual stakes for me, then again, she's there screaming in my ears. "It's so personal. No one's going to want to hear this." So I have come to take my inner critic as a very good sign. The crueler she gets, the more I know, all right, I am writing something that has actual stakes for me. And I know that actual stakes is a precondition for my doing good work. So this is what I wish for all of you. I wish for all of you to be able to reframe your inner critic. Anytime you start hearing that cruel voice saying your work is too petty, too clumsy, too personal, too corny, too blank, too whatever it is that is your particular poison, I want you to say to yourself, "Oh, I'm doing something that has actual stakes for me. I am onto something good." Okay? If she gets meaner, think, "Oh, I'm getting closer." Okay? Take her as nothing more than a sign on the road saying you're headed the right direction. Let yourself bask in it. Let yourself positively delight in it, that you are taking an act of creative courage. Hey, it's Rachel. If you love these conversations about creativity, download Musy, the app for creativity, designed by me and based on my 15 years experience coaching artists, leaders, and teams. Take the assessment and get your spark. So as you follow along with the spark sessions, you'll know exactly how everything applies to you. If you want to go deeper, a Musy subscription will also get you missions, reflections, and meditations personalized for your precise creative needs. Download Musy for free from the link in the show notes, and be sure to send me your spark for a chance to hear it interpreted on an upcoming episode. So, have I convinced you of the importance of creative courage? Yes? Okay, great. And have I convinced you that creative courage means being exactly, specifically yourself? Yes? Okay, wonderful. So now I am going to turn my attention to you. I'm going to offer you 2 practices that will help you claim your creative courage. I want to mention both of these practices come from the Musi app. Musi is free and available for download in the Apple App Store. You can get to it by following the link in the show notes. So I'm going to offer you today a reflection and a mission. First up, the courage reflection. This is called Recipe for Your Special Sauce, and it's about remembering what is particular about you so that you can create from that space. It's 4 simple questions. Feel free to pause the video so that you can write your answers. Alternately, make a note of the timestamp so that you can return to this in the future. Question 1. What are 3 life experiences that shaped you? What are 3 life experiences that shaped you? Question 2. What are 2 topics you are uniquely qualified to explore? What are 2 topics you are uniquely qualified to explore? Number 3. What's something you believe that other people do not? What's something you believe that other people do not? Number 4. What's one thing only you could make? What's one thing only you could make? So now every reflection in the Musi app comes with a takeaway message after you complete the questions. I'm going to go ahead and read you the takeaway message. And I encourage you to take this with you throughout the week. Throughout the week, think more about what makes you special. Let your mind linger on your quirks, your secrets, the nuances of your fantasies, the history of your bravery. Understand that every bit of this is what makes you you and is therefore exactly what's needed in your creative work. Okay, now we're going to shift our attention to the courage mission. This mission is called Make a Mistake. And what it is very much in the title. But I am going to read to you the context. This is a section in the app that I call Why It Works. And this one happens to be a bit of a story. Dan is a brilliant, upright bassist. His technique is textbook. His pitch is legendary, even among his impressive ensemble mates. And he always finds the tasteful thing to play, the thing that makes everyone around him sound better. He's kind of perfect. Suffice it to say, his phone rings a lot. But also, his perfection can be intimidating. It even makes Dan nervous. Over the years, I felt more and more pressure to play flawlessly, he reflects to me. I spent all my energy reaching for the right notes. His grooves became predictable. His solos became safe. His perfection was eclipsing his artistry. But he discovered a hack. Now, every show he plays, right after the first count in, he makes a mistake. I get it over with, he confesses sotto voce and laughs. It's usually something small, a suspicious note, a bent pitch. Maybe he's the only one who notices. Yet in that act, he flips the script. He turns his fear into a game. He witnesses himself err and survive. He proves to himself that his value is not his perfection. Few of us have Dan's issue. We are far from flawless and we know it. But a lot of us have a similar relationship to perfection. We seek it. We suffer when we fall short. And so in sneaky, sometimes invisible ways, we tighten the reins. We take fewer risks. We drain our creativity of play. We create only to the extent we know we'll get it right, which is to say, we don't create much at all. More like we replicate what we have seen work before. In pursuit of perfection, we are kept far from our best work. In Make a Mistake, you will be like Dan. You will throw off the shackles of perfectionism with a mistake. If you're a songwriter, you could choose an off note. If you're a painter, you could choose a hideous color. If you're an upright bassist, you know what to do. The point is not to torture yourself, though at first it might feel like a kind of torture. The point is to disempower perfectionism and empower yourself. Use this mission to get out beyond perfectionism's cruel grasp. Make your mistake like a devotional practice to your creativity with curiosity, amusement, reverence. Then smile to find yourself on the other side of it, dancing with creativity, far more interesting than perfection could ever be. Okay, there's a few notes that I also want to include. Note number 1, if making a mistake is too upsetting, begin by imagining a mistake, and then start small, a barely noticeable mistake, an unwitnessed mistake. Over time, you may feel ready to push the envelope. Note number 2, do mistakes amplify your negative self-talk? I don't need to make mistakes on purpose. I make plenty without even trying. If so, this mission is likely very important for you. As you make your mistake, nod to your feelings, and then gently turn your gaze back to your work. Note number 3, sometimes mistakes lead to breakthroughs. As Thelonious Monk famously said, wrong is right. If you make a mistake and discover there's something great about it, congratulations. It's all yours. Okay, so that was your courage work for the week. By all means, do these practices and then let me know. Let me know how they go. This episode's spark reading is for the wonderful Pavani Murray. So, as you can see, Pavani's spark is extraordinarily sparkly. Literally, the inspiration score is 30 out of 30. That's the highest possible inspiration score. That is not an inspiration score that I have ever seen. So what that means to me is that Pavani is always getting new creative ideas. Pavani is in a kind of synergy with their muse, which is beautiful, which is extraordinary. And we're not going to touch that. What I will address today is connection. So yeah, the connection point is a little bit lower than the other points. Honestly, it's not dire. It's pretty great, but it's slightly lower than the others. So what does that mean? What is creative connection? And what is it in the context of someone who overall is so creatively healthy? First, I want to establish something. Creative connection does not mean how many people are in your life. You maybe have wonderful friendships. You maybe have a vibrant community, and yet creatively, you have a lower connection score. That's because there are specific relationships that are needed for creative health. What are these creativity relationships? They are this: creative allies, mentors, mentees, role models, collaborators, and nature/spirit. Okay? These are the 6 relationships that are going to move the needle on your creative connection. Let's talk about each one. A creative ally. This is a companion on your creative journey. It's sort of a mutual cheerleading relationship. You can talk to them about your creative process. You can hear about their creative process. Mentors. This is someone who's been around the block. They have something to offer you. They can help you clarify your goals and make sure you're moving toward them. Mentees. So overlooked, but so important. This is someone that you give your gifts to, that you take your wisdom, your experience, and you offer it up. It's so good for them. It's absolutely critical for you. Role model. This is someone not just whose work you admire, but whose creative life you admire. Okay? Collaborators. This is someone that you play with. You get in the creative sandbox together and you make something. Finally, nature/spirit. This doesn't just mean going for a walk in the woods. This means going for a walk in the woods, knowing how it can nourish your creativity. So, in a case of this, especially when someone is overall so creatively healthy, I would say, where do you already have these relationships in your life? And where do you not? Do you have a creative ally? Do you have a creative mentor? Do you have a creative role model? And if you don't, your first stop is actually your current relationships. Who in your life can you turn into a creative ally just by making sure that you check in with each other about your creative projects from time to time? Who in your life can you turn into a mentor just by allowing them to support you a little bit in refining your goals? Who can you turn into a collaborator just by finding some small way to involve them in your creative process? Okay, start there. And then maybe you will reach further. Maybe you'll say, oh, no one in my life is really that into my creative projects. So maybe I do need to find a creative ally elsewhere. And then you start thinking about friends of friends. Maybe you reach out to an artist you admire. There are creative allies all around us. There are as many potential creative allies as we have time for. Okay. So go and find yourself some. Maybe you realize, I don't actually have a creative role model. Well, then do some research. Who do you really, really admire? Who do you want to emulate? Who represents your becoming? And then make a point of spending some quality time with that role model every day, meaning read something she wrote, watch a talk she gave, dose yourself with that medicine on a daily basis. Now, for someone who is overall so creatively healthy, my hypothesis is that a little intention toward creativity relationships is just going to blow the roof off this thing. Once Pavani starts getting resourced from these creativity relationships, it's going to be that extra momentum and that extra energy to really launch some more of their projects. Okay, now just a little reminder, if you want your spark read here in next month's episode, send it to me. You can find my email in the show notes and just let me know if you have any specific questions that you want me to address alongside of the spark reading.
I want to thank each and every one of you for being here as we explore what it really means to create magic at work. If this conversation resonated with you, or if someone came to mind while you were listening, share the episode with them. Help others who are looking for these types of conversations find us. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, rate, and review so you're notified when the next episode airs. Until next time, keep edge walking, keep challenging the way things have always been done, and keep making magic at work.
Thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to a Magic Thread Media podcast.